Yes, hello, and welcome into another edition of the Magic Valley Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com, broadcasting on a Friday. Yes, and a late Friday afternoon. A lot of you are probably headed out the door to take in a varsity sporting contest of some kind tonight, but we appreciate you hanging with us. It took a long time to put together this week's show, hence why we're here at the end of the week. My name is Brandon Baney, though. Let's bring in our Magic Valley expert and resident. It is Scott Burton. Scott, how are you on this Friday?
Hey, what's going on there, Brandon? You know what? You say that we're late in the week, and we are, but man, there just really wasn't a place to fit anything in this week. It has just been one of those weeks that just doesn't stop moving. So glad to finally get on. We're squeezing it in before all the football games start tonight, and we have a really good one this time around.
Yeah, for sure. And my hope is that if people don't see it live here right now on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, or X account, they'll be able to revisit it later this weekend or maybe even early next week. Additionally, you can always listen to this podcast at IdahoSports.com or wherever you download and subscribe to podcasts. Yeah, Scott, we kind of pushed the mold with the unusual. I mean, we did for the first time ever last year. We did a Saturday morning Magic Valley Prepcast, if you remember that. That was
yeah, we did. I remember that. Yeah, I think that was the first time that we've ever done anything on a Saturday when it came to the Prepcast on any of them. But you know what? That's what we do here at the Magic Valley Prepcast.
That's
you
right.
You can't put us in a box, Brandon.
You certainly can't. We are here to create those memories, and we will be remembering a lot on today's show. We are, of course, going to talk about the life of Laney Morgan, the junior at Twin Falls High School who tragically passed away in a car accident about a week and a half ago now. It's still a story that's pretty raw in the Magic Valley, so we wanted to take our time because those wounds are still fresh, to be sure. But to start with, Scott, we will start in the sports arena, and then we will go outside of the sports arena. And football fans in Richfield are going to be talking about this game for a long time to come, Scott. Last Friday night, Richfield, in their conference opener against Hanson, trailed 38-6 with about 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. By the time the final gun had sounded, Richfield had come from behind to win 44-38. So they outscored Hanson over the final quarter and a half by a grand total of 38-0, right? Am I doing that math right? I mean, it's just insane.
I was told there would be no math involved.
I'll pull out my calculator and but they were down 38-6.
Yeah.
And they come back to win 44-38. And just the final sequence of plays is insane. I mean, about 25 seconds to go, Richfield ties the game on a fourth down touchdown pass from about the 5-yard line from Devin Scott to Jace Fuchs. That tied the game. Mm-hmm. Then Richfield says, hey, who needs overtime? They're going to squib kick it. They recover it. They get the ball back. Devin Scott, 12-yard bootleg as time expires to walk off with the win for Richfield, 44-38. I have never seen a comeback this big in all of the time that I've covered high school football, whether it's in Idaho or any other state. Scott, have you?
No, not like that. And it's just kind of one of those things where momentum just flips. And it is like a tidal wave you can't stop. But, you know, when you think about how this game started and how they got themselves into this hole, it's like Richfield didn't get off the bus until about the second half. You know, they kicked off to start the game. Hanson put together a good drive. That drive took up, about half of the first quarter. They get a touchdown. It's 6-0. Okay, fine, whatever. But they onside kick and recover. They score immediately after that. It's 14-0. Another short kick, Richfield recovers, but on their very first play, they fumble. And a few plays later, it's another touchdown. It's 22-0 before really Richfield's had a play from the line of scrimmage, So they kick, it's 22-0. The first offensive play of that drive, they snap it over the quarterback's head, and it's 2nd and 26. And now that's the end of the first quarter. It's 22-0. So they had to overcome that bad snap. And then they put a drive together and got on the board. Okay, so it's 22-6. but still momentum was not on their side. Hansen put a drive together, and it was 30-6. Well, a penalty backed up Richfield, and which took a 37-yard play off the board. They got sacked twice. The second one in the end zone for a safety, and now it's 32-6, and nothing is going right, for Richfield. And most of this is their own fault. And then at halftime, they got challenged. Buck Hendren, their coach, veteran guy, he just kind of put it on the kids at half and just said, you know what, you decide how you want this to turn out. You can play the rest of the game, you can pack it in, you can do whatever, but this one's gettable if you just get it together. And they did. They made a few changes. They overcame some mistakes because in that first half, it was false start, another penalty, and they couldn't get out of their own way in that first half. And then they got it going. Jackson got him going by running the ball, had a couple of key catches for touchdowns. The next thing you know, momentum started to shift in that second half because now Richfield's doing what Richfield does, and that's play football and not shoot themselves in the foot. And you mentioned Devin Scott. He did it on both sides of the ball, had a big sack on defense and a fumble recovery for a touchdown in that second half. 18 carries, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 of 16 passing, 113 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 7 total touchdowns in that game, did Devin Scott. And so finally, it all just kind of came together for him in the end, and they needed every second of that game to pull off.
This is just remarkable. First of all, this is the first season in the entire time I've been at IdahoSports.com, which is like 4 or 5 years now, that Richfield is playing a full varsity schedule. They've played either mostly JV or kind of a hybrid JV varsity because the numbers have been so low. They've just been trying to get that program going. So now here they are playing varsity for the first time. And they probably, I know Richfield has a proud football tradition, but man, this has to be one of the wildest games in Richfield High School history. I did the math, Scott. They did outscore Hansen 38-0 over that final quarter and a half. That's just insane.
Yeah. It's just funny how when momentum swings, it is such a funny thing. And, sports people, they get it. That's why they call, if you watch the NFL, that's why they call that end of the third quarter, start of the fourth, right? That's the witching hour. That's where everything can change and get flipped on its head. You need 1 or 2 big plays. Boom, momentum changes immediately. And boy, when it does, you can really feel it. And it's kind of cool to see it happen because now you see these guys playing with a whole lot of confidence. And and that was a big storyline in that game.
Yeah, pretty remarkable win for Richfield, and getting conference play started off well. Now, Scott, they got a tango with the team a lot of people think might be the best, Cary. So, they're not gonna be able to get behind by 38 points and come back and win against Cary tonight. But
no, not at all. And and it's just a lesson those kids are gonna learn. You can't dig yourself a hole and expect that you're gonna climb out of it every time. But fortunately they did this time. I tell you what, this fly is gonna meet its death here in a second. I'm in my garage and got the man cave going on, but it's the fly season, and oh my word, I got a little family right here that is driving me bananas. So if you see me like wigging out, like I've walked into a spider web that you can't see, you know why.
Wow, that's just business as usual here on the Magic Valley. I guess we're gonna have to call you Lord of the Flies, Scott.
I think you just found your title.
Yeah, for sure. In the chat, we've got IdahoSports.com #1 fan Sam Buffington. Greetings, Sam. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, now we're gonna go from just incredible stories, that happened in the athletic arena. A 38-point comeback by Richfield's football team to those stories that are just inspirational in different ways, Scott. And we're going to keep it in high school football. We're going to keep it in 8-man football in the Magic Valley. We're going to go to Murtaugh, where the Red Devils played Butte County last Friday night. Ended up falling in that contest, but the final score, not imperative to what we're going to talk about here, which was late in the contest, Noah Cummins makes a reception for Murtaugh. And if you just looked on paper, okay, that's, I guess, a player who came in off the bench, made a reception, and that's the end of the story. But that's why we're here on the Magic Valley Prepcast, because Noah Cummins is a pretty remarkable young man for Murtaugh, and the fact that he made this reception late in this contest against Butte County, it sent the entire Murtaugh sideline and the fans into a frenzy.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the story because, Noah's one of those kids that, in this small town, he's just liked by everybody. And, he's been around all these kids on this football team since he was little. And they brought him along. They didn't treat him any differently, and he did play football as a kid all the way up to his freshman year, and then stopped and then decided to play again this year. And, this Noah kid is one of those kids that he's a decent athlete. He can move. I mean, he's fast. I mean, he runs track, but football's a different animal. You can't, expect to put, somebody out there and completely get annihilated and lit up on some big hits, no matter, how much they want to be out there. It's just one of those things. Right. And so he was, obviously a little nervous about getting out there, but he decided to play, and his teammates absolutely took him in, and they were just looking for a chance to get him into this game. And they did, and it worked out really, really well. They took a shot with him, and it didn't, they misconnected on the first one. The second one, they connected. And it was funny because they were talking about, if he were to get in and make a catch, that his teammates were saying, no, you gotta celebrate. You gotta do a dance. You gotta do something. And so they concocted this little celebration dance. I mean, it lasts about maybe 5 seconds, but at the same time, that was planned going in. I mean, that was one of those things. It's like, no, you got to do this, man, because hey, you're going to celebrate, and it was something special. And you know what? We've got the clips too.
For sure. Yeah. So little context here. Noah, like you said, good runner, right? Does track for Murtaugh. Plays basketball, I'm pretty sure, for Murtaugh. Noah is a special needs student that is just getting involved in as many activities as he can, which is just awesome to see at Murtaugh. And so here we go, Scott. The footage is a little grainy, but here's what we've got. Noah Cummins' first career varsity catch.
Sound off.
He tough grab over the middle, had to elevate to get it too, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you think of these things as it's just going to be like a little quick, 5-yard out where the ball is in the air for like maybe a tenth of a second, not something that's 15, 20 yards down the field. So I mean, it's pretty good route he ran, and then pretty good ball by the quarterback, but boy, nice job by Noah to make the catch. That was pretty exciting. And you could see, the sidelines were pretty excited about it as well.
And then here was the real highlight, post catch.
Ready.
I love it. That's a great celebration there.
Oh,
that looked great.
That is awesome. You know what? I might have to borrow a page out of Noah's book next time something goes right for me. And, and I got it going on. I love that. That is awesome. And the other cool thing about it is, I was talking to Coach Young about all this, and, and he called the entire moment was priceless. The entire team was pumped. And the following, Monday, they hand out their team awards, and, they have a big chain that they wear that's, kind of for the man that did he was the man on Friday. Anyway, Noah got the chain, right? And from what I heard, has not taken it off. just one of those things. And you talk to the people that know this kid, and they just, you mention him, and just a smile comes across everybody's face, because he's just one of those kids that's been an inspiration, since he's been little. And the kids have treated him so well. And one of the things that people say about him is he is hilarious. He's always cracking jokes. He's always making everybody laugh all the time. And when I had the conversation with Coach Young about it, I could just hear in his voice that every time he mentioned Noah or started talking about him, you could just hear the joy in his voice, because this is what this kid has done to his team and his community, and how much they do admire him. And it's quite a story.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. And Scott, you're a Los Angeles Dodgers fan. I've seen when Freddie Freeman, hits a double and he does his little team dance and say, I think Noah's got better moves than Freddie Freeman does. That's
yeah. Dodgers are kind of doing that, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, O'Shea Ohtani, huh? How about that game? 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, a couple of stolen bases.
First player ever, 50 stolen bases, 50 home runs. It's just insane.
Yeah. How about that? That is just bananas. Two upper deck shots of the 3,
Yeah.
So,
and they asked on the broadcast, you could see the Marlins. That's who they were playing, the Miami Marlins. Their manager, Skip Schumacher, who is not going to come back with Miami next year. Not because his contract is up in Miami, are they going to fire him? No, he's walking away. He's like, I don't know, this is a dumpster fire of a team and I want to go somewhere else. But he's kind of cool, because they showed him the dugout yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, but when Ohtani came up for the 3rd time, and somebody on the bench asked him, like, hey, you going to walk him? And he was like, nah, expletive that. I've got too much respect for this guy to do that. So they pitched to him, and that's when he hit the homer. So anyways.
Yeah. The final score was 20-4 or something like that. So, it's not like they were, you score 20, you score 17. What does it matter at that point? Let him hit an upper deck shot and make a highlight reel. It was his night. So, yeah, it was very cool to watch.
Yep, for sure. Okay, Scott, well, we're going to wrap up now. That was baseball. We're going to take it back to softball, and somebody who not just impacted the softball team at Twin Falls High School, but really the entire high school, and really the Magic Valley as an entire valley. We were all shocked when we heard the news just 12 days ago that Laney Morgan, only 16 years old, a junior at Twin Falls High School, had died after getting into a car accident, and it sent shockwaves throughout the Magic Valley. I think a lot of people are still processing it and internalizing it, and it's something that is still pretty fresh, but we wanted to give Laney, the celebration of her life here in a small way that we can here on the Magic Valley Prepcast. And so I know schools up and down the valley did different tributes, different honors to her. And so we've got, Scott, you did a great job this week tracking down, I don't even know how many pictures and stories. And so we're just going to kind of go through how everybody is processing the memories they're sharing, and kind of what everybody did to honor this life that was taken way, way too soon, Scott. And you're somebody that lives in the Magic Valley, and so you have felt this. It's still kind of a raw, real-time feeling about this.
Yeah, it is. And whether or not you know her personally, or you follow Twin Falls athletics, or really anything about her as a person, it just really does put things in perspective for you, when it comes to what's important. We tend to get lost in so many things and what we put value on. And, for me, the hardest thing is, from a parent standpoint, I'm a father of 3 daughters, and I can't imagine. I just can't, and as a parent, you worry all the time, about anything and everything, because you want your children to always be safe. And no matter what, we just don't have control over everything, and things happen. But you better take advantage of what you've got while you've got it, and love life, because you just never know. And so when something like this happens, it is a tragedy, yes, and it is being felt by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, but it does put things in perspective. Don't take anything for granted. Make sure you tell the people that you care for that you love them, and you do it every day, because you just don't know.
You never know when that moment will be the last. And so here are some pictures, Scott, that you were able to get this week. We'll start with, these are her teammates from the Twin Falls softball program. And you can see right there all of the different jerseys that they've worn over the years. And that's Laney's number right there, number 21. And so just a touching, poignant moment. And Scott, you saw this with Orofino's baseball team last year, where Drew Hanna, another young man or young child who was taken way too early due to a car accident, they kept his jersey number, that number 2, in their dugout all season. I would imagine Twin Falls is probably going to do something similar.
Yeah, it's something like this is just, it affects so many different people, and that's not taking away anything from somebody that doesn't participate in extracurriculars that passes away tragically. But the people that are involved, like Laney was, they affect so many different lives in so many different ways. And when somebody is taken from you, it's just like a part of you is taken along with them, because of the amount of time and energy and love that you have developed with this person, that you can see through the pictures you're about to show that everybody rallied.
Definitely. So here are some more of her softball teammates with Red Bulls. And
that's the thing, there's a couple of things about Laney that,
yeah,
you need to know. The Red Bull thing is, she loved to drink Red Bull. But everybody knew that she didn't need any more energy than she already had. But as one teammate said, they loved her for it, so that was part of what this picture was. She was just a huge Red Bull fan.
Yeah, that's awesome that they're able to take pieces of her personality and carry on with that, for sure. This is a rock at Twin Falls High School that they have painted in Laney's honor and in her memory. So that's the team again posing with this rock, and we've got some close-ups of it here at the front. It says "Fly High Laney." It's got her jersey number 21. On the backside, "Forever," our number 21. And then on the side of it, you can see right here an angel from heaven painted on there, and then a blue heart as well in that Twin Falls blue. This was kind of a cool way to honor her as well, I thought, right there at Twin Falls High School.
Yeah, and that picture right there kind of ended up being the symbol that everybody was using. And as you can see, and you'll see it repeated in some of the pictures, but yeah, I mean, this was a kid that, she played softball was her big thing, but she participated in volleyball and basketball, but had recently started to fall in love with wrestling too. And so she was known in so many different circles. She was one that would find the best wrestler on the team and just practice to get better, to work on her technique and skill, because she was just a competitor. And, she was one of those kids that I just remember her as a softball player, because, in the same conference together, that, she was one that could turn the game in a heartbeat. I mean, she played catcher, and she could just take these massive swings at the plate and hit these towering home runs if she connected. But she was a game changer. But you talk to the kids that knew her and the coaches that knew her, and they'll describe her as inspiring, ambitious, gritty, spunky, powerful, a spitfire. She was everything you wanted in an athlete, and someone who was extremely memorable, and somebody that got stuff done. When she put her mind to something, she got it done, and that's kind of the impact that she had on her team. And, she was one of those players that just made her teammates better, just because of her competitiveness and her attitude and her personality. and kind of what she was all about. And that was evidenced by everybody coming together in the fashion that they did.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Laney was the catcher, the backstop for that Twin Falls team. So this was her office. This was her view behind home plate here at the Twin Falls softball field. And then here out in center field, Scott, incredible job. Whoever stenciled and painted this out there. Laney fly high, 21-24 as a student at Twin Falls High.
Yeah, that's the effort that went into something like that really does show that, you know, she did impact, because you just don't do something like that unless somebody impacted you, you know. And, you know, there was a lot of layers to Laney too. I mean, she was one of those kids that, you know, had interests in a lot of different things. I mean, she was an exceptional welder, you know, and that's something that she loved to do, you know, with her dad. And from what I hear, she was passing out her homemade tulips and butterflies that she would make. And, you know, just a tremendous talent outside of sports, and a really good relationship with her family too, because, you know, she was extremely close with her family. And, you know, like I mentioned, the welding with her dad, and I was told that Step Brothers was something that she was often quoting. And that was something that she also shared with her dad. But, you know, to the games, I mean, man, it was just a ton of people that would come and support her from her family. And so, I mean, every box that you would check on somebody that was well-rounded, doing it the right way, working hard, had friends, did all this, she was checking them.
Yep. So this is center field, where it's just a small piece of the memorial for Laney. This is the sidewalk that leads right to the dugout. Every player put their own personal touch on each of the squares that you see here. And I thought that was a nice way to honor her as well. And then again, as we said, home plate, that was kind of her domain, right? She was the catcher. You can see here preparations starting to be made to decorate home plate for what turned out to be a very moving, stirring memorial service this past Sunday at the Twin Falls softball field. You can see here they're getting everything set up. Here are some teammates laying down a couple of bats for her. This is what it looked like when it was all said and done. A couple of very nice pictures, wreaths, arrangements, her catcher's gear right there at home plate where she would put them on and go to work. And then eventually the bats and some flowers laid down at home plate as well. And this was kind of the scene that was set for the memorial service, which we will touch on here in just a second, Scott. But again, you can see the care that went into honoring her. It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and there was a lot of thought that, you know, went into everything that happened, just to kind of remember her. But, you know, just to remind everybody too that, you know, don't take anything for granted. Every day is a blessing, and, you know, you just got to love life. And no matter when your time comes, you know, you just want to make sure you left the right mark on people. You said the right things to people, and whatever happens, happens. And, you know, everybody I talked to had nothing but great things to say about Laney and her family and all of that.
Yeah. And then, of course, Twin Falls is not the only school that did what they could to honor Laney. It was, I mean, every school in the Magic Valley did something in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them wore blue in support of Twin Falls, as you'll see coming up here. This is just a small snapshot of what some of the schools in the area did. But like I said, every school in the Magic Valley did something, and we are very appreciative of those efforts. Scott, your school, Jerome High School, where you're the athletic director, here's everybody wearing it's unthinkable that a Jerome Tiger would put on Twin Falls maroon and blue, Scott, but I thought this was very classy from you guys.
Yeah, I know. It was something that, you know, our kids and those involved were very proud to do. You know, there are some things that are bigger than rivalries, bigger than sports. And this was obviously one of them. And so we were honored to wear blue and blue that day.
And your girls painted a rock at Jerome High School as well in Laney's honor. Live like Laney. I like the and then on the back here, number 21. And again, kind of those angel's wings that you said has kind of been this unofficial symbol, as it were, for Laney Morgan. So just another touching moment.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody did everything they could to show their support.
Yep. Here is Canyon Ridge High School. No more bitter. I mean, Twin Falls' top two rivals are Jerome, just because they've been around for such a long time, and then Canyon Ridge because they're in the same city. I mean, this is, again, everybody at Canyon Ridge wearing Twin Falls Bruin blue, which just seems out of character, but not for someone like Laney Morgan. This is Kimberly High School, also donning their Bruin blue, and here are the Kimberly coaches as well, wearing shirts in honor of Laney Morgan also. But Scott, it wasn't just the high schools in the Magic Valley that took a moment to honor Laney. The College of Southern Idaho, CSI in Twin Falls, their softball team took a moment of silence and kind of reflected on this tragic passing as well.
Yeah, a funny little segue to that, doing the homework on this story is that, she was also the hairstylist of the softball team, the pregame hairstyling rituals. And I was told that, her sister Greta kind of guided her in that and made Laney very talented. and if you watched girls sports, I mean, there is an element of the hairstyle. And Laney was a big part of that. And so that's why I think it's kind of cool that CSI did, what they did.
Yep, for sure. And you can see the ribbons in their hair as well, right? That Twin Falls Bruin blue with those hair ribbons. And then the memorial service was held on Sunday, Scott, at the Twin Falls High School softball field. This gives you kind of an idea of the attendance, but here is, I mean, you can see, Scott, it's a packed house. There's not an empty seat in the joint for this.
Yeah. And it's, man, I mean, who would have thought that you'd fill up a softball field in this manner, but again, it just goes to, the support that people had. And if you see in the front of that picture, it's a pair of cowboy boots. And that was another thing that was really kind of big to Laney, who loved all things camo. And, besides her softball cleats, her favorite shoes were cowboy boots, so, she was just one of those kids that had this Western collection, hunting and fishing and, but she always had those things going on, and making cookies with her grandma is one of the things that she loved to do. And, there was just a lot of layers, to this girl.
Definitely. And then, you can see here, these are Valley Vikings, actually, Scott, because Laney, kindergarten through 8th grade, actually attended the Valley public school system in Hazleton, and then decided to go to Twin Falls High School for her high school career. So these are members of the Valley High School football team laying down flowers for Laney there at home plate.
Yeah. She is very much entrenched in Valley Viking kind of culture, as her mom is a coach and teacher there. And, so there's a lot of family, a lot of friends back, at Valley High School. And that's why, they did what they did.
Yeah. And then the service was concluded and everybody could kind of let go a little bit, as it were, balloons into the sky in memoriam of Laney Morgan. And what an impactful moment that it's kind of symbolic a little bit, right? You're kind of releasing her and letting her go to the skies above and to heaven. But at the same time, still a difficult emotional day for everyone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, before we put a lid on this story, it's, many thanks to softball coach Tanya Burke, who really kind of helped me out with the story and the pictures and everything like that. But again, what a tragedy. It's there's not a whole lot of ways you can describe it other than just just sadness. It leaves a hole in you when you see a young person with so much talent and potential and affecting people in so many ways that, they get taken from you too soon. No matter what the reason, it just makes you appreciate.
Yeah, it makes you reflect, it makes you appreciate, and there's no magic formula to get over the grief and the sorrow that happens when something like this occurs. You just have to kind of take it one day at a time. And they say time heals all wounds. I'm not sure it ever heals those wounds completely, but our thoughts and prayers are certainly with everybody in Laney's family and people that knew her, friends and family in the Magic Valley as well, because it's gonna be a tough road to process this and to move on. But the best thing they can do is to just try and live every day like Laney would, right? And that's full tilt and 100%.
Live like Laney, and there you go.
Yeah. So, all right, Scott, a little more emotional Magic Valley Prepcast than we're used to. If you have loved ones, hug them a little extra tighter tonight. Like you said, Scott, you never know when it may be the final time, and really soak up life and take advantage of every moment you have, I think is the overriding theme for this week's show. So,
yep, without a doubt, every moment counts. Make it the best moment you can be. Nothing can wait till tomorrow. Do it now.
Certainly. All right. So it is a Friday. Everybody that's going to be traveling this weekend to various athletic events or competitions, please do so safely. We want everybody to be back here next week for another edition of the Magic Valley Prepcast. But until then, for Scott Burton, I'm Brandon Baney. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Magic Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.